Hi, in this video we're going to solve engineering mechanics 1 marks questions from question number 21 to 27. Let us start. This is the first question. A block weighing 981 newtons. So what is this 981? This is the weight. Is resting on a horizontal surface. The coefficient of friction between the block and the horizontal surface is mu is equal to 0.2. A vertical cable attached to the block provides a partial support as shown in the figure. So this is a vertical cable which is providing a partial support. So there is a tension T upwards. A man can pull horizontally with a force of 100 Newton. So a man is pulling horizontally with a force of 100 Newton. So what will be the tension T in the cable if the man is just able to move the block towards right? Okay, 100 Newton, 0.2, 981. Okay, so the man is just able to move the block towards right. So if you draw the FBD, I'm drawing it in the diagram itself, right? Because in exam, I'll not draw a separate, I'll have to draw a separate FBD. But if I have the equation, I'm taking the leverage. So this is static friction. This is the force mg, right? So the man is just able to move the block towards right. It means that the force 100 Newton is equal to Fs. So, or in fact, Fs is equal to Fs is the maximum static friction. Maximum, it should be Fs max, right? That is the limiting friction because the block is about to move. Fs max is equal to 100 Newton, right? So, what is Fx max? Can I say Fs max is equal to mu s, or mu, it is just given as mu into normal reaction n is equal to 100 Newton. Right? Where is the normal reaction acting? The normal reaction will act this way. This is the normal reaction n. Okay. So can I say the normal reaction n is nothing else but is equal to mg minus t? 100 Newton. Right. So the value of mu is 0.2. mg is already given in the equation. mg is 981 minus t is equal to 100. So what is the value of t? Let us calculate from here. So 100 divided by 0.2 should be 500. Yes, 500. 500, 981 minus 500. You need not use the calculator here. 481. You need not use the calculator here. 481 Newton. So this is the answer. This is the answer. 481 Newton. I hope you got it. This is a very easy question. Okay, let us move on to the next question. The time variation of a position of a particle in rectilinear motion. What is rectilinear motion? Motion in a straight line. Is given by x is equal to 2t cube plus t square plus 2t. It's t time for me. So it's v. If v is the velocity and a is the acceleration. Wow, thank you for letting us know. See, gate people are so good. If v is the velocity, e is the acceleration, they try to explain each and everything. Right? The questions are so very nicely framed that very rarely you'll have any confusion in the question, unless and until they want to create confusion. Unless and until they want to create some confusion in the mind of student, you'll not get confused with the question. They frame the question in such a beautiful manner. Okay, the motion started with, so what is the initial velocity? The most units the motion started with means what is the velocity and acceleration at time t equal to 0. बहुत easy question है. I think I should not solve it, but okay, ठीक है, कर लेते हैं try. X is given as 2t cube plus t square plus 2t. Should I solve it? No. Velocity है. I know most of you must be saying no need sir, but ठीक है, 6t square plus 2t plus 2. So this is the velocity equation for velocity. Equation for acceleration is rate of change of velocity. We'll differentiate velocity, then we get acceleration. This is equal to 12t plus 2. So simply substitute the value of time t is equal to at t is equal to 0, because the motion started with means at time t is equal to 0. What will be the velocity if you put it 0? It will be 2. Acceleration if you put it t is equal to 0, 2. 2, 2. Answer है 2, 2. Option D. Option D. I hope it is clear. Very simple. Let us move on to the next question. I should actually try to remove all these questions, right, from this question bank. Okay, there's a previous year question, so I have to give it. No issue. The figure shows a pin joint plain truss. What is plain truss? 2D truss. Loaded at the point M by hanging mass 100 kilo, 100 kg. The member Ln of the truss is subjected to a load of Ln. This is very simple question. Repeatedly, this kind of question has been asked. So we are using the concept that if at a joint, three members are meeting and two of them are collinear. For example, at joint L, like you can see there are three members, 1, 2, and 3, and two of them are collinear, 1 and 2 are collinear, then the force in the third member is 0. So force in the third member is Ln is equal to 0. So very comfortably I can write it as 0. Very comfortably I can write it as 0. Now one of my students, he asked me, so what will be the force in member Kn? What will be the force in member Kn? Now you can see if you remove, so you can see if you remove the member Ln, because the member Ln is, the force in member Ln is 0, so I can actually remove it because it is not solving any purpose, right? It's not handling any force. So if you remove this Ln, this would have been a better question actually if you remove this Ln. So you can see if you concentrate on joint N, again there are three members meeting at joint N, 1, 2, and 3. And two of them are collinear, 1 and 2 are collinear. So what will be the force in the third member? The force in member Kn is equal to 0. Right? Again, this is a very simple question. So answer here, the force in member Ln is equal to 0. Let us move on to the next question. Okay, this is somewhat easy question. Now, one of the assumptions that we study while solving the first questions of truss is that all the forces should be point force acting on the joints. All the forces should be point force. All the external loads on the truss should be point force, right, acting on the joint. This is one of the assumptions that we consider while solving the problem of truss. But here, gate में the twist कर दिया पूरा. Most of the students would have fainted. अरे क्या हो गया? UDL, this is out of syllabus. This out of syllabus will not solve it. Don't do that way. Okay, don't do it that way. Gate always give you the question. It might seem difficult. It might seem confusing. It might seem tricky, but it is definitely solvable. It is within your syllabus. So yeah, some questions might come that way, okay, but out of syllabus. So I can convert this UDL into 2 point force. Yes or no? PL by 2, PL by 2. Now proceed with your solve. Now proceed with your answer. So you'll get this same answer. So if you see now, there are two methods that you can use. You can use method of section or method of joints. You can use method of section or method of joints. Whatever method you use, you'll have to find out the reaction. So by symmetry, I can say the reaction vertical. I'm just finding the vertical. I'm not interested in horizontal. In fact, horizontal reaction is 0. अरे horizontal force, external force in here, the horizontal reaction कहाँ से आएगा, right? So reaction at point A and reaction at point B. Now, can you tell me what is the value of RA and RB even without calculating, just by looking at the figure? Yes, this is a symmetrical. This is a symmetrical figure. You can see, right? So it's a symmetrical figure. Definitely the loads, the reaction should also be symmetric. The total downward force is PL by 2 plus PL by 2, that is PL. So total upward force will also be equal to PL by 2. Why I have done it PL by 2, PL by 2? Because this is a symmetrical figure. Nah. If you draw a line through the midpoint, cutting this entire truss into two places, right? Isn't it symmetrical? Is it symmetrical? Now, for finding out the reaction, it is definitely symmetrical. The truss is not symmetrical, but loading, if you see the loading, if you want to find out the truss, if you want to find out, the truss is definitely not symmetrical, but you should know that while finding out reactions, we consider the whole truss as one single unit. So if you neglect the inside of the truss, if you neglect the inside members of the truss, right? Now you'll be able to tell that okay, this is a symmetrical structure. Don't assume, don't see the inside members, just see the trapezoid. So the trapezoid has been cut into two halves. So at the same point the load is acting, so same reaction will come up here. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay. Now, you can proceed by two methods, method of section or method of joints. So if you proceed with method of sections, I'll take these sections somewhere here, mm, right? So this is the part that is drawn will look like this. Okay, so this is force CD, and this is force reaction at point A, right? And this is force EF, this force ED, and there is a load here, PL by 2. Now about which point should I take the moment? Now you can see I should take the moment from a point where maximum number of unknowns, or you can say maximum number of turns get cancelled out. So I'm taking the moment about point sorry. So I'm taking the moment about point E. So I'm taking the moment about point E. Summation of moment about point E should be equal to 0. Why I'm taking the moment about point E? Because this force, and this force, all these forces will get cancelled out. Sorry, I'm again sorry. So how can I write the equation now? I can write the equation as RA into, this is the anti-clockwise moment about E. Sorry, it's the clockwise moment about point E. Clockwise moment about point T, and this is the anti-clockwise moment about point E. So I can write down equation as RA into the distance, perpendicular distance is L. Can't you see this? This distance is L. From point E, this distance, perpendicular distance is L, right? To force RA. This is equal to FCD, again perpendicular distance is L. So we'll cancel out. So what is the force CD? Force CD is equal to reaction at point A, that is equal to PL by 2. Answer is A, PL by 2. So you can also do it by method of joints. Once you find out the reaction at point A, you can consider the equilibrium of joint A. And then you can apply the shortcut trick, what we have studied today. I'm deleting this and giving a hint how to use method of joints if you want to use method of joints. So you can simply eliminate this. You can say force in member AC is equal to force in member CD. Why? Because at a joint C, 3 members are meeting, 2 of them are collinear. So the force in member EC will be 0. So if it is EC is 0, just remove this. So you can say force in AC is equal to force in CD. So consider equilibrium of joint A and find out what is the force in member AC. So you can say this is also equal to force in member CD. So this is how we can do this equation by method of joints also. Okay, let us go to question number 25. Again, this is a very nice question, conceptual. Now, before in the year 2000, 2003, 2005, 2007, and somewhere around 2011, 12, even till 13, questions were very conceptual. So, question from 2014 onwards, they've tried to give easy level good questions because the exam also got online, and to reduce the effect of coaching institutes, GATE, the IITs try to give little bit easy level of questions, but they have not compromised with the quality of questions. Okay, let us see. A bullet of mass m travels at a very high speed, high velocity v, and gets embedded inside the block of mass m initially at rest on a rough horizontal floor. The block with the bullet is seen to move a distance s along the floor. Okay, assume mu to be the coefficient of kinetic friction between the block and the floor, and z the acceleration due to gravity. And what is the velocity v of the bullet? And what is the velocity v of the bullet? Okay, so let me say just after collision, let me say the velocity v dash. Just after collision, combined velocity is v dash, right? The combined velocity of the bullet and the block of mass m. Okay, so it moves the distance as. So what exactly has happened here is that since all the kinetic energy of the bullet in the block initially. So what is the kinetic energy of the bullet in the block? Half m plus m v dash square. So this is the kinetic energy that was with the block plus bullet initially, just after the collision, and this was expensed by the friction. Friction was doing work against this, right? So all these energy got dissipated in friction. So what is the work done by friction? Can I say work done by friction is equal to the kinetic friction multiplied with the distance traveled. So what is the distance traveled? What is the kinetic friction? I can write this as half m plus m v dash square, v dash square is equal to, what is the kinetic friction? Kinetic friction can be written as mu into n, right? What is n? Can I say n is nothing else but m plus mg, small m plus capital M into g. अरे अभी तो सीख जाओ. Even without drawing the FBD, you have to keep on doing this. Yes. Right? So you can see from here, you can calculate the velocity v dash. It is equal to m plus m will get cancelled. Mu will be there. 2 mu gs, root over 2 mu gs. So this is the velocity of the bullet and the block just after collision. So now using conservation of momentum, we can find out the velocity of the bullet initially. So initially the block was stationary, so only the bullet was moving. So initial velocity is mv. It is equal to final momentum. So initial momentum is mv equal to final momentum. So what is the final momentum? Final momentum can be given as capital small m plus capital M, because it's a combined bullet plus block mass into velocity, that is equal to 2 mu gs. Okay, so what is velocity v? Velocity v is equal to small m plus capital M divided by small m. Option में है, okay, 2 mu gs. So what is the answer? Answer is option A. I hope you got it. I hope it is clear. Okay, so let us move ahead. Question number 26. A steel wheel of diameter, wheel of 600 mm diameter, on a horizontal steel rail, it carries a load of 500 Newton. Okay, so if there is a load of how much? 500 Newton. The coefficient of rolling resistance is 0.3. Mu r equal to 0.3. Right. The force in Newton necessary to roll the wheel along the rail is. The force in Newton necessary to roll the wheel along the wheel is. So basic initially, see, the concept funda here is you don't have to use anything of rolling resistance here. Initially the force that will be acting is the static friction. Initially the force that will be acting is the static friction. Now let me give you a caution here in this question, right? I have not been able to understand this question directly. I have done the reverse engineering. I've seen the answer first, then I have tried to predict what should be the solution like. Okay, so otherwise it was a little bit difficult even for me to figure it out how exactly to proceed. So I've seen the answer first. I got the answer as 150. Then I tried to figure out what should be the solution. And yes, we have to do this many a times. Not all the questions I'm not a genius. I'm not an expert in mechanical engineering. All is that I have practiced a lot of questions. So I know 70-80% of the syllabus well, and I can teach well. So that's why I'm trying to put it over YouTube, right? So I'm telling you frankly, this is I've done it reverse engineering. I've seen the answer. Then I have got back to how to proceed with the solution. Okay. So since it is at static condition, initially the force that will be required will be the force necessary to overcome the static friction, right? So I can say what is the static friction? Static friction is equal to mu s into n. So you can clearly see here the value of n is equal to 500, and I really feel that this question is kind of incomplete. I don't know, I couldn't understand the question. It was set way back in 2000, that is almost 22 years ago. So I don't know. Okay, fine. Whatever it is, 0.3 into 500. So this is equal to 150. Okay, so if you're getting this kind of questions, need not worry. ठीक है, अगर हो रहा है तो it is good, नहीं हो रहा है तो आगे बढ़ो भाई. There are a lot many other questions to do. ठीक है, you're not going to, it is not going to affect if you're not solving few questions, right? If it is quite confusing, just leave it. Try to solve it. Try to attempt it. Discuss with your teacher. Discuss with your friends. Try to see the solution. If you're still able to not understand it after a few attempts, just leave it. There is lot of things that needs to be covered. Okay, so this is again a very good question. I took time to solve this question. ठीक है, नहीं आ रहा था, process was not coming. ठीक है, and I don't know if it comes in exam this kind of questions unless and until you have very good question. This is basically a questions of aptitude. This is basically questions of aptitude, and yes, gate is also an aptitude. So okay, fine. A car moving with an uniform velocity covers 450 meter in a 5-second interval and covers 700 meter in next 5-second interval. Right, the acceleration of the car is fantastic question. So let me say what exactly is happening here. So this is the starting point of the car, then the car reaches point B, and the car reaches point C, right? So initial t is equal to 0, t is equal to 5 seconds, t is equal to 10 seconds. So in this 5 seconds, the car has moved a distance of 450 meter, and in the next 5 seconds, the car has moved at a distance of 700 meter. Now acceleration is given to be constant. Now let me say this is value is u, the velocity is u, let me say velocity is v, and let me say this velocity is v dash. So what I can say, u is equal to v is equal to u plus at, v is equal to u plus acceleration into time taken. And what is time taken? Time taken is 5 seconds, right? V square is equal to u square plus 2as. This is also you can use. And one more equation, s is equal to s is nothing else but 450 is equal to s is equal to ut plus half of a t square. So ut I'll directly write as u into 5. थोड़ा सा टाइम बचा रहा हूँ, plus half of a 5 square. Okay. Now this was from A to B. From B to C, I can write it as this equation 700 is equal to v into 5, the initial velocity into time taken. Time taken is again here 5. The acceleration is constant, so it is half into a into 5 square. Right? So let me say this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. So 1 minus 2 or 2 minus 1, rather let me do 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 implies 700 minus 450, that is equal to 250, is equal to 5 will get common, v minus u, half a 5 square, half a 5 square will get cancelled out. So v minus u, you can find it from this equation, the first equation, right? This equation, you can find what is v minus u. V minus u is a into 5. So this is equal to 5 into 5a. So this is equal to 25a. So what is the value of a from here? A is equal to 10 meter per second square. So this is your required answer. This is the required answer. So that's it. We have solved all the 1 marks questions from question number 1 to question number 27 in 3 videos. Thank you all of you. Best wishes.